closest to the speaker. Okay, hello everyone. I'm Steve, this is Adam. We're here with Fedward at Graphistudio, and this talk is not a talk as such, but it's more an interview with the very well-known Roleplay Studios. We're really keen to ask them some questions that Adam and I have been working on. If anyone else has got any questions for them, please feel free to raise your hand. But if not, I'll just go in straight in with a question. Do you want to say anything? Yeah, okay. I'll just go in. I made these questions last night. I pre-prepared them, so if anyone's got any better questions, please feel free to put your hand up. Anyway, one of my questions was, because sometimes when I'm at a wedding, sometimes I lose that enthusiasm for my creativeness. Like if I'm here and I'm looking for compositions and nothing's happening, I'm thinking, I've heard about other photographers say something's always happening, and I'm like, I find it, hard sometimes. And then I see some of your amazing photos that you guys do. And then I start to think, how long will you wait, to know, if you see a really interesting composition, super cool of you, if something walks past here, or something if this happens, because I know your brains think a lot, how long are you willing to wait for something like that to happen? So the actual question is, how do you keep yourself motivated when looking for something, and how long are you willing to wait for something to happen before moving on? When it comes to sometimes I see something that is clearly partial product. There's something that could potentially get as a product. But unfortunately, the other elements aren't there. And looking at the scene and what's happening around it, the chances are that it's actually not going to happen, it's not going to occur. And at that point, I'm just going to walk away and just accept that. But I'll still keep an eye on potential. So I'll keep, you don't have to stand there and look at it. You can still kind of be aware of that scene and look towards, hey, are the elements that I need going to come together for me to be able to go and photograph that? Is it worth it? Because if not, I'll go somewhere else. Because over here, the likelihood is there is going to be a shot. That's kind of it's just playing the cards of the situation. What's likely to get you photographs? What's not likely to get you photographs? If, however, I see something and I'm like, well, the chances are there is going to be something there, and this is going to be great. They're going to love it, I'm going to love it. At that point, I'll wait as long as required, really. Let's say this guy will never wait for 10 minutes. That will be for age in the photography. Most of our photographs, the vast majority, take place over between a few seconds to a minute. They're not that long.
Yeah, I think we're lucky as well, unfortunately, that there's two of us. So, me and Rob spent, was it 45 minutes tracing the second?
It was about, the whole sequence of that was about 10 minutes, but the actual gap between seeing the original photograph and then seeing the other piece of the puzzle to make it, was a 45-minute gap between that I just remembered that the photograph could be taken.
Yeah, so you were able to have, unfortunately, to be able to get in the situation where you could do that, and you knew that I was also, I'm not a second shooter, I was also taking pictures as well. So I think it is fortunate in the way that we can do that, but we wouldn't make any more than 10 minutes, because we don't have time more often, even if we are fortunate to work together in that situation, we don't have time to do it.
Just on the motivation, because that was the motivation for me is quite simply being paid to do the job. We're here to photograph a wedding, and there's a responsibility for that, and that's enough motivation for me. If there is nothing going on, I think it's my job to find something. So that's my motivation. That can scare me into kind of making sure I get stuff.
Sorry, that's what we're going to do all the time. Because we are expected as well to get those layered, multi-story images. That is what people are expecting from us. So we do have that responsibility on our shoulders to make sure that we actually achieve that. So we can't just go, oh, did we get it? No, we haven't got time. Do you know what I mean? Like, we have to keep going and keep trying to find those images, because for us, that is what they put us on.
So on the same, my question's a lot louder than that. Do you want to get a sound out to maybe see? So on that same, I might pass this microphone around to you, so I think someone's a lot louder. So it's the same. So there's a concept in wedding photography, especially like the safe shots. So there's a lot of talk, especially if you go to workshops. Cover the safe shots, and then you can go and play type thing. And you kind of, I guess you kind of touched on the fact there's two of you on that kind of thing. But do you ever think about the safe shots? Because you definitely don't show any safe shots. Do you ever think about this in terms of safe shots and then more creative exploration?
Yeah, so we've been started shooting in 2000.
Okay. So we started shooting. So we started shooting in 2006, and it's not as if when we started it was like, well, we'll just go purely into documentary, and we knew exactly the kind of pictures that we wanted to take. That wasn't the case at all. Nor was there any point where somebody stood on the chair and was like, and from now on we're just going to purely do documentary. That didn't happen. Like, a lot of it was like small little moments that happened that seemed fairly inconsequential at the time, but looking back you can kind of paint the picture of how things actually came together. So for a long time when we started in 2006, it was before social media, it was before we were kind of influenced by anything or any other photographer. The only other photographers we knew were in our town that we were living in, and where our studio was, which was in Scarpa in Yorkshire. So there was a few photographers in the town. We didn't know them, but we knew that they were successful because they had a career in photography, and that's what we wanted to do. So it's like, they were paying bills, they had mortgages, they had a studio, they were successful, they were working photographers. So we would look at them and think, well, yeah, we want to be working photographers. What are they doing? How are they achieving that? And we would see, we couldn't necessarily go and talk to them, and maybe we could have done, but we didn't. And we looked in their kind of shop window and see the kind of photographs they were taking, and they were kind of expected beats. A lot of it was portraits, a lot of it was kind of, I guess, back then you'd see as kind of like what you think of as well photography. So when we started, we were very much concentrating on doing that. And that, for a long time, it's not easy to do that well. Like, it's hard to do that. It's not as if you could just step into a wedding and take great portraits or take even great detail shots. Like, it takes time to become good at anything. So when we were, that was a process of a few years. And it took a while for us to get competent at that. Because at first we were incompetent. So we got competent at it. And then it got to a point where we could essentially relax. We could do it in our sleep. I knew exactly what was going to happen when I attended the wedding. I knew all the big beats that were going to take place. I think everything was going to be fine. And just because over time our style has evolved and maybe got a little bit more different, it doesn't mean we forgot those skills. Those skills were the foundation of everything that we were building on. And we will still take those photographs. Now, we don't necessarily put them front and centre or show them as our unique selling point, but that doesn't matter really. We're still doing those photographs, and we just have more pressure on us to take the other kind of photographs because that's how people are booking us.
That's a good long answer, yeah. I would say that the same shots are still there, but it's not like, there was a one point where we would take the same shot and someone else would take the unusual shot. But now the way that we get booked, both of us are after the unusual shots at all times, and the same shots are now kind of just done by us both, and they just happen, But safe, like shooting just like, 56 or whatever, 85, just doing heads, and what's it called, and you just shoot the heads, Smile Patrol. Yeah, Smile Patrol, that's not something that we'll do because that's not what we booked on. With the reception, it is all about getting those unusual photographs that can have like a streety and layered and multi-story and humorous and so on.
I mean more like the first kiss, because people think of these vital shots you have to get throughout the day, whether it's the ring exchange, the first kiss. Do you think in that way?
think about those things, about doing them in a kind of like more safe way. If I feel like both of us, for some reason, have an angle where one person can take it safely and the other person might try something, more kind of, you know, the thing is with those kind of moments is that you're somewhat limited to where you can move to, where you can stand, and what you can do with it. And you're not necessarily, when I think about, like, some people might look at those images that we take and think they're highly stylized, but to me they're not really, because fundamentally behind the ideas of the image, I am still thinking, I just want to get a nice picture of what this is in some way. Like, a lot of the photographs that were taken elsewhere, so the reception is looking for connections between people, subtleties of emotion, subtleties of movement. Like, these are different kind of things that I've been looking for. With the kiss, I'm like, yeah, it's not a good kiss. It looks good and it's flattering to them and captures this moment as well as I possibly can. I do think that as wedding photographers, we do put emphasis on certain moments in wedding photography that is more pressure from us than it is actually from the bride and groom. Like, for example, the ring blowing your finger, like, that's something that people must get a picture of this. But why? You know, I've been out to many brides and grooms' houses, shot weddings on the house, a wedding photograph there. I've never seen that photograph on a wall. I've never seen that photograph placed anywhere. That's not to say it doesn't have value at all. You know, it's something that's happening, and if you can capture it, capture it. But if you miss it for some reason, I really wouldn't worry about it. Like, just concentrate on the next day and make great images. That's what it really matters. Yeah, so cool.
Yeah, if I was a friend as well, I'm fortunate to do that. I know that I look at what he was doing, and I will try and do something different. So I'll focus on I guess combined with the first kiss or something like that. You know, or the rings. I'll try and see if there's like a member of the family that can concentrate on and just do something a bit different. But if it's just rings, you know, you've got to make sure you capture it as well.
That's good. So just sidestepping from on the job itself, because it's okay to talk about on the job a lot. Now you guys work together to create a product, and this is your product, and this is the images are your brand. But you're two separate people, you know, two individual personalities, and you've got to create, you know, a similar product between them. Do you guys have separate tastes in music and movies and films, and do you get any inspiration? Where do you guys get your inspiration? Is it from the same source?
I think we have a fairly unique thing to a brother and sister. So to work with a sibling is you have the same kind of, not exactly the same, but you have shared experiences as childhood. That helps give you reference points that are sometimes conscious and sometimes unconscious, but it allows you to kind of, when you're discussing and trying to bring kind of like a creative process together, you're coming from a similar place, which helps. Now, are we exactly the same? Of course, you know, I like some things, I like some things that I don't like, and that's absolutely fine, we have different taste. But when it comes to photography, the things that we really love in photography, we love similar things, like the core values of what our photography is made up of are pretty similar. And when we were, because we were there, obviously, it was two of us, and when we were creating, we started to go to weddings together and photograph them. There was clearly a moment where we were like, okay, we need to make some decisions here. We need to kind of, even though we were trying in some respects to remove the rules of wedding photography, we were trying to create our own set of rules. So we knew where we were over certain issues and what was important to us. So we would talk about it, we would look at other photographers, we look at our inspirations, we look at the visual language that they were using and talk about why is this working, and why does this use us, why has this photographer done this, and why does it work for us, to be able to give us some kind of, I guess, compass and direction to know where to go going forward. Now, we're very lucky it was two of us, because you learn in different ways, and sometimes I will learn something, and I've done, and she'll teach me.
I had the idea to
John will do the
jazz
same,
drive.
and obviously John will do that, and she'll, females know different things in theirs, and she'll, make you appreciate different things and different scenarios about what people might like, and how to do certain things, and that is really, and we want to have to come in doing the proposal as a photographer and artist. So, you know, I feel like it is very valuable to find somebody who you can talk to creatively when you're trying to get better at anything. You know, it's not that you should necessarily listen to and take their advice, exactly, but to bounce ideas off, or just to hear a little point of view from somebody that you respect, can really help you kind of not go crazy. Because it's very easy. You know, a lot of artists are confident, feel relatively confident, but really quite fragile and soft, you know? Or somebody makes negative things towards you. If you're taking kind of risks and you're moving into directions that are potentially more risky or on the edge or not known in the industry, whatever it is that you're working in, then if somebody can say, you know what, I like that too, I think this is value, you're not crazy. I mean, the approach that we've written is the something. It is the something because that was the question that we were asked to each other. Is this dead? Is this a moment? Is this a photograph? Does this work as a visual language for this direction? Because it wasn't necessarily clear at the final that everybody on the one level picking up a kind of photograph because they saw the value in their time. So for us to be able to kind of share that experience and understand what is this environment, we hope to do that.
As you were the initial stages of your case and what we came, that was, we were together, we were back to the picture, and we spent a personal way and we spent all the time together, and that was a very intimate and thing, joyful years, and learning together, watching tons of movies, looking at loads of street photography and art, just discussing things all the time together, and spent policies all the time together, just learning and figuring out what we wanted to achieve in our photography. And it was really well set up as well, because we're trying to figure out what we want to do.
What sort of horror movies do you watch back then?
Hitchcock, loads of Hitchcock. The reason being because we were looking at old movies because of the techniques they were using.
Would you just watch it and go, wow, that was great, it's inspired me to shoot it, or would you watch it and, not to this level, but would you pause it and think, oh, that was composition and nobody's showing us, and would you do that watching the movies together?
Yeah, so it was like, there was a car scene, we were like pausing it and going, look how they've done this, you know, look how they were just shot it straight, they were showing us certain amount of why they've done this, and like picked out the colours as well, like the colours as well, they were picked out everything that was like, music photography as well, it was computing photography, and let it be album, behind the scenes, we were looking at that, the colour, and this time, and just like dissecting and deconstructing everything that we could get our hands on.
It's when I first heard of people, when I first started out in photography, I think people who use movies for inspiration. When I was young, naive photographer, I thought that was kind of pretentious. It's like, you all get an exposure from movies, and then I'd be like, okay, I'm going to try that. And I'd watch a movie and go, yeah, I love the movie, and I go to one and go, where's the connection here with this? So how would you, if I was, you could rewind me back to my first videos, I said to you, how do you get inspiration from movies? What's the process of that?
Okay, so firstly, I find generally the older the movie is, the more effective that it was in terms of, because the different CGI, it was much simpler. They rely on composition and everything more. They had issues to solve, but some of the issues that they had to solve were more in line with photography. And we've seen it in elements, for example, a car pulls up at our window and somebody gets out. That's the wedding part, right? That's the venue. It's a drip direct, one-on-one. Why have they placed it there? What? Why is that interesting? Why, all of a sudden, does that composition work for what the story that they're trying to tell? And is there anything that we can actually work on this? Or play over, right? There's a film, a Jack Tatty film called Playtime. If you watch this movie, you will see our style all over it. Like, we are story things now. It is, without the center, it is shocking. And it's a film, it's moving. But that is a hugely influential movie. It's called Playtime by Jack Tatty. it's lots of stories happening simultaneously. It's kind of like it's a French director. There isn't anybody really talking in it, so it's just visual comedy essentially. And you know, visual comedy is something that we look at all the time. So.
I mean, right. You talk about risks a minute ago. So you obviously gave the talk yesterday, and I spoke to somebody straight after the talk who was very inspired by your style, but they said, but I can't go and start doing that on my own because my clients don't do that. So you said you started in 2006. What year would you say that this became your primary style of photography?
2006 to probably 2010, it was just web photography 101. From about 2010, I'd say, we started to think maybe documentaries would be like, that was the thing we were enjoying the most at once. But at the time, we thought documentary photography and web photography, it was generally my favourite web photography. It's always serious. It's that straight kind of photography. Well, I appreciate that, and I think there's some new photographers out there that do that. That really didn't sit with who we were as people and how we saw the world. So we decided, quite simply, of course, we're just going to have colour. We'll put colour into it. And we shot documentaries, probably then for maybe like until 2015. I would say it was documentary yet. We'd still be heavily doing real things, but we were trying to make documentary, I guess, something that we were going to really put just the lens, rather than looking at the portraits we were doing or anything else. We were trying to make little moments, seemingly insignificant moments, that on a wedding day, feel important, and show why we felt big and important to us. And it didn't have to be, a Bible reading a mountain in the background to feel significant and big, Because, yes, that's a very dramatic image, but for me, dramatic can be a conversation. Dramatic can be the smallest thing. Like, my life, if I had dramatic things that happened in my life, they weren't on top of the mountain. They just weren't. They were very small things that happened. So, seemingly, but not internally. So, I wanted to try and push that. We talked very lot about this. We was going on about what's important to us. And then I guess the more visual flair.
Oh, yes, that's right.
And I got the jacket. Even going back to the first ever wedding that I shot, the first photograph that I ever took wasn't too dissimilar from the stuff that we do now. It was instinctively what I was drawn to. I just thought it was really interested. I think it wasn't executed that way. But the idea behind it was an idea that I had made. The idea was the same. The execution was important. And the kind of knowledge that there is value in things connected to it. Like, I think, we do a workshop for or leadership photographers who will come in and they will show us their work. And usually they come because they like our work and they want to be like us. And we will talk through our work and we will say, this is how we do this, and this moment, this is what we look for, this is how you build an image. But they will show us our work. And the work that they were proud of was because it was really difficult for them to do. And the actual execution of it wasn't so good. But there were images in their portfolio that were absolutely amazing. Incredible photographs. And I would say, what about this? This is amazing. It's so good. Why don't you want about this? This is what you should be front and center on your website. And say, it's easy. Not to me. Not to me. Just because it's easy to you, it's not easy to everybody. So people undervalue their own skill. They undervalue it. And I know this because it happened to me. It's happened to me throughout my life. When I started, I've known since I was a little boy, creativity was something that resonated with me. Visual language is something that I understood. No, maybe not to a particularly deep level, but I was still having critical thoughts that I looked about what I liked and what I didn't like. And as I moved through education, I would always give higher value to the things that were difficult, even in the creative field. I think that's where the value is, that's where the money is. If this is if this is difficult to me, then it must be worth something. Undervaluing everything that I do personally, the time you listen to me. So I feel like it's a process I think everyone has to go through, and maybe some people have that realization. Maybe some people have got things that they don't like, and it's a very tragic thing that happens. But I feel like don't be scared to value to things that can be useful to you.
Okay, just quickly, the second half of the question is, if somebody did want to move more towards this style, how would they begin to do that then? Because I guess the concern some people have is that the market for this is smaller. So if they were to adapt in a mass market style to move into something that potentially they love more, which is now more this kind of style, they might feel like the market is too small, there won't be enough customers, and then they're worried that they'll abandon the business and they're never successful, even though it's not the type of photography they might want to be doing personally. So how did you move from that to the style of your life?
Well, first of all, you have to spend time working on it, and it's, if you get like anybody which is FA16 it's really good. So, yes, we could press really and it's not really. So then we go into the streets, so we go like street photography, and that's where we know about the practice from. Because you can do as many times as you want on there, and you can do loads of different lights, and you can just like keep working and playing with ideas. And you know, when you're creating an image on the streets with a lot of people there and layering, then it's easier at wedding because at the moment, you know, it's that section of street photography, people allow you to take those pictures. So I would say that first of all, absolutely practice outside of the wedding, because if you get it wrong, you can make everyone with our style.
Just what getting into that is that it is a smaller market, no doubt, for images like this. But I don't see why it should be. I think a lot of that is just because people don't know. Like, our style is not like so out there that it's unrecognizable. If you went to a library and got out some street photography or got out like a magazine that, you know, it's not at that level, but you would see things, similarities in the kind of style. These are all photographic techniques. There's nothing wild we're doing that you would don't know. And this is really out there on the fringes. You know, it was just an unusual thing to do at a level. But these are old photographic techniques, and if you go to the cinema, there should be, there should be a little choice of movies. If you listen to music, there's lots of different choice of music. There's a lot of people out there that don't know this, and some people just don't know what they can have, you know? They don't realise the kind of options that are out there. So I'm constantly wanting to encourage people to go out there and express themselves and show more of themselves in their photography. Because if they can do that, there's going to be people out there that will connect with it. You're not alone. You're not just on an island. If you like something, someone else is going to like it too. And if they like it, they're more likely to book it because they're going to connect with it. Because they're going to see elements from their own life or themselves in their work. And that's going to help you book things. So,
I just think, you know, when I think about why we do people that have on the first place, and I think for any reasons, it doesn't have to be because you're a street photography or, you know, it can be like family, landscapes, you know, and putting yourself into the photograph is key, and that comes to practice, and I think outside of weddings as well, because at weddings, as we all know, they're very pressured, so sometimes have very time restrictions, so it's nice to have that extra time to figure out yourself. And not just practicing as well, looking at all the things that people are looking at movies, looking at art, looking at photographers, looking at music, anything can inspire you and make you interpret it really different and yourself, which is good.
Okay, I'm just going to take it. Does anyone in the audience have any questions? James?
I actually saw you guys a couple of weeks ago.
I saw you guys a couple of weeks ago and just wanted to have so many questions since. But is there any one book other than Is This Something that you all could recommend for doing inspiration from? It could be regarding anything, just like to be a photography book, but it's anything that you would recommend as something helpful and motivating.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the street photography books are the ones that really resonate with us. I mean, there's people like Alex Webb and the Suffering Girls, which is a huge influential book for us when we were kind of starting. You can look at basically any mountain or there's a photographer called Tony James, who's a big influence on that. His work is really beautiful. He uses a lot of kind of fundamentals in his work that we would kind of use as well, in terms of like spacing and layering and just distance from the subject to go together. So yes, he's a huge influence. Harry Greenet is a Belgian photographer who is exceptional at finding photographs that make you feel something, even though there doesn't clearly seem to be anything significant that you need to photograph. They really need to search to be able to attach yourself to it, but yet somehow you can't take your eyes off them. So there's many street photographers out there, and any kind of book format, just looking through and seeing what resonates with you, it's kind of a good place to start.
So can I just say a comment from the live listening to Jeff on those needs?
Yeah, no problem.
Super. So, how do you deal at weddings? We were chatting this morning about some stuff like group photos and stuff, which is, I know you do that kind of stuff at weddings. It's not, you're not trying to pretend that it's all this and everything, but sometimes at weddings there's the helpful bridesmaid or the helpful guest who will suggest things and suggest things that should be taken, or they just got to know this photo in this place. How do you deal with friendly suggestions of things you should be doing, or that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that I always do in the morning is because you may have spoken to the bride beforehand, and they kind of get it, but as you said, maybe the bridesmaid has been married before, she has certain preconceived ideas about exactly how the wedding should be, or maybe their friends and family, they've been eloping to them before, maybe they have, and they don't necessarily know how to act. So the first thing I would do in the morning is that, not always, but often, is say, hey, I'm just going to be taking some pictures. You can ignore me if you want. You don't have to do anything. I'm not going to tell you to do anything. So, have a great day. If you want to take that one, please come tell me. But otherwise, you can ignore me and have a good day. Something really simple to me.
Yeah, I think also, actually fine to do that, but it's to make sure that it doesn't affect you too much, and that's really key. Like if someone has set up like, the shoes like the new and a little detail for something, I'll use no problem. But what you don't want to do is like get into your head and think, now they want something different than what I'm doing. I'm like, no, it's just a little thing you want to do, it's absolutely fine. And just try not to let it affect you too much, because once the doubt, starts to seep in, that's when you start looking at problems instead of everything being potential. And that's really important, being able to talk through them.
I'm asking this on behalf of me, by the way. A specific example would be, so let's say, in prep. There's a nice building room, there's lots of little ones happening, and I'll pull into this, almost like a tango. But they're kind of laying stuff where somebody's having that, and then somebody might say, can we open a picture in our rooms? And that's going to kill that moment. It's going to kill the general moments of the room to do a stage photo. Would you say no? Would you say yes and accept that the moment is over? How would you approach it with that kind of very staged Pinterest style stuff?
I don't get asked for that very often. I think because they think no. But if I did, I would take it. I've had plenty of time before. I arrive early and there'll be lots of things going on. I'll take it, it's not an issue. If they're happy, I'm happy. And there are plenty of other things happening before and after. And yes, it might affect those that little bit of time, but I've been working hard before that. It's not like I've just been like, let's see. Do you know what I mean? I've already done it, and I'm already like, cool, let's do this, no problem at all. I want them to be happy. Happy people make happy photos.
I was just going to ask, can I continue with the same topic, I guess, of layering? Because a lot of your, there was a picture a minute ago, there was a little boy down here who was eating something, and there was a thing happening there, and I think happening there. And none of those things are by themselves are much of anything. But when you put them all together, it works because of the layered moments. How, so, for me, as a novice player, I would just think, well, what you do is just put on a wide lens and just take a picture of not many things happening, and then put that layered. How do you start getting into that more layered style?
Okay, so what you're looking for is things you can rely upon on the scene, because you've got to build the picture up. So for example, if somebody sat down, you know they sat down, you're not going anywhere. That would be an anchor in the scene. That is something that you can build the picture around. So like a lot of the time it appears like there's a lot of random things happening, but there are some things in there that I would look at as control points. A control point can be a background, it can be a person sat down, it can be anything, it could be two people talking, but you know you have got in that place for a period of time. So then would then be put into the composition, and then you're like, okay, well, let's look at the ground. This is a work quality, but we're going to come along here to this space. I know that. I've seen it happen before, and of course we can only grow this way. So you start to like build up the picture. That's kind of how it works.
I was just going to say as well, it's very difficult to look at all the things in an area all at once. So like, as we were saying yesterday, balance and spacing and shapes are key. Because if you try and like focus on something in it, then it all falls apart. So just want to look at it as a whole rather than in the individual.
Has anyone else in the audience got another question? James, right? Has anyone else got another question first? No? Okay, well, let James ask again.
Just need to invest in mentorship at this point. How are you finding you've spoke a few weeks back about the X106 at Reading. How are you finding it? I know it's a bit technical, but you enjoy it still?
Yeah. So, we originally bought that camera purely as a personal camera to use for street photography and family stuff. But when we got it for the first wedding, I just thought, I'll take it to the wedding to kind of use, because I was excited about my new camera. And I was like, yeah, I'll just bring it away, take a few shots of it. I basically did the whole wedding with it. Which, it's not ideal because it only has one power shot, so that's a huge risk and something that if you're a solo shooter, I think is not necessarily the most ideal still. However, it made me smile, it made me happy. Other people reacted to it differently. Like a small camera does change how people react to you. Like I know a documentary photographers react to it. Oh, we're invisible, we're not invisible, they're very visible, people are aware of it. And when I found that I could get closer to people, I felt that people reacted in a different way around the camera that was helpful to me. And also just simple things like it's very light. And if you're in a position where you're kind of holding the camera and you're kind of maybe holding it in a position, you can hold it there still without getting any fatigue for a bit longer. But I found that sometimes the best shot was just as I was thinking about giving up, that's when it came. So it allowed me that a little bit longer to be able to kind of get the shots that I needed. So yeah, I love the camera.
Well, you bouncing around that ticket that day, so I was like, he was like, you're going to have to use it at the wedding. And I was like, right, I was a little bit dubious because I meant to use the 5 as much as I did the long history that you had with it, did I? But I loved it immediately too. It's an extraordinary little camera. It just makes you happy to shoot with it, and it's just fun. We did a wedding for a wedding photographer, and she had 2, and we were always happily chatting about how much we love the camera. And how much it makes you feel good shooting with it for documentary. So, yeah, it's always a really important one for us. Whoops.
So, the last question is a bit of an abstract one, but I personally think that everyone's goal is to achieve a style in their work. I really believe that sitting in style is an evolving beast. You have recently written the book on documentary work therapy. How do you not become a slave to the stuff you've written and still keep the evolution in what you're doing, despite having written all that anyway? And kind of asking like, what next? Where do you take your style next? Without being a slave to say, we've said how we do it, we're going to have to always just do it that way.
you get enslaved all the time by yourself, but there's a photographers, you know. I know when I started that I would be inspired by my photographers, but if you're not careful, they will change you and you become a poor imitation of what they're doing. And you need to break through with those channels to be able to see artistically what they want to do. But of course, as you take more photographs and you start to, I mean, some of the common things, because as I said, it's always evolving. And we use these words like documentary, it is just, I'm not posing anything, you know. Like, documentary to me really suggests that you are capturing the world quite factually, which we aren't doing, like, at all. Like, I don't care necessarily about the reality of what's happening in front of me. It's my interpretation of what's going on with the scene in front of me, and what I believe the story to be. And that can be nothing to do with the reality of the situation. Photographs can tell the truth, but they can also lie. So you can, tell the truth, lie, whatever you want to do, you know. And yeah, I don't necessarily think about. A lot of what we've got in the book is more or less saying these are techniques about how to find stuff when there's nothing going on. If you are struggling, if you're at a wedding and you feel like, you've got this suspicion, I know something's going on here, but I just don't know quite how to photograph it, or this wedding's moving really fast and I'm struggling here. That's not a nice place to be in. What's nice is that when you're in a zone, that people talk about, I'm in the zone right now. Things are moving slower. Every photograph that you seem to take is kind of connecting you with your happy in a really happy place. I really want photographers to be in that place. Like, that's a nice place to be. I want people to be able to express themselves during the periods of time. Feel like that they are taking images that are resonating with them, that they really like. Like, not just taking pictures because they think somebody else might like them, or like in the branding room, or in the photographer. Because if they don't like them, then, and you don't like them, nobody likes them. They have no value. So, you've got to really be thinking, do I love what I'm seeing here? What is it that I like about this? And understand why that you're taking that photograph. Like, I can, why you're taking it isn't really necessarily important to anybody else. But it is important to you. So if you know why you're taking something, what you're trying to achieve, and sometimes it kind of makes you have like an invulnerability to it. Because if someone says, I don't like this, this isn't my kind of thing, you're like, well, that's absolutely fine. Great. Because you know what you're trying to achieve. And you know why it works for you. You know, the whole point of it, the expression of you personally as well, which is nice. It's just a nice artistic thing to be able to live in. And we have, as photographers, we like the greatest job in the world. It's an absolute privilege to be able to do it. To have people ask them to attend a day that's so important for you, and to give you the camera, you the responsibility to be able to capture it for them. They're not giving it to anyone else, they're giving it to you. So it's up to you, they trust you. They trust your decisions. They've seen your portfolio, they've seen your work, they're into it, they love it. So at that point, why shouldn't you do what you believe in? Because they've given you that trust. And not to do that would be, for me, like, disrespectful to the whole thing. So go out there and take pictures that are meaningful to you because they're meaningful to other people too.
Yeah, I feel like we are always like, evolving, we always spoke about last month, we keep changing a bit now, we did the update talk, and when you get around the time, did the talk that wasn't about is there something, and we did it, because we were evolving, slowly, together, chatting, talking, and the thing about weddings is, they're always different, I'm not going to, the radio again, but we're looking for more bride, tribe, we have little names for our images, like slangs, to get to know. But we're looking for more images that we know that we can take at weddings. Like we were saying, we don't just take weddings, we don't just take photographs, we make photographs. And that is all that's going to happen and change. And it's not just about just showing the truth or holding a mirror up exactly what's going on. It's about showing our take, and that's going to evolve and change. And we change as we go on.
Sorry, just one last thing to answer your question is that a lot of the decisions that we screen. Like, it wasn't like a big thing, as I said, nobody made it seem to a documentary. These are things that naturally occur. So you're not just photographing the style that happen, the things that kind of unconscious. So there's, as long as you're open to learning, open to doing and doing your best, open to knowing that there's lots that you don't know, then you will improve. And it's not all in a straight line like this, it's up and down, and sometimes you plateau for a while. That's just the nature of creativity, because it's not easy to do, and it takes time. But as you grow, you'll see new things, you'll have new experiences, and naturally the work will evolve.
Cheers, thank you so much.
Well, thank you to your Play Studios, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Honestly, when I asked all those questions, the original concept of this was to going to ask questions to add value to you guys. But I was just sitting there just thinking, forget you guys. And it's like, we're very different styles, but just listen to how much you care about your craft. Like, I'm not going to go away, and look for the scene at all, but I know how much hard work and how inspired you are and how much you love making these pictures. And I just want to go away and do another wedding there and work hard on what I do and make better pictures the way I make them. So thank you for inspiring me. These guys are going to be around for the rest of the day. Please take a look, ask them questions about their book or some of the resources they use for their inspiration. But we'll all be around for chats and conversations. And at 3 o'clock, is that on 3 o'clock? Oh yeah. We're going to have another Q&A session up here with everybody from today. So there's another talk in 10 minutes. Well, yeah. Is it? 10 minutes. Yeah, so there's going to be a live flash demonstration at 1 o'clock. So we're going to take a quick battery break and see some flash. Thank you for listening. And thanks again to your place. Thank you.
Thank you.